Successor of the Nazareth Baptist Church leader Vela Shembe is expected to be announced on the 16th of December. The spokesperson of the Thembezinhle faction, Nkululeko Mthethwa, earlier on said announcing the successor on the day of the funeral is a tradition of the Shembe congregation. He, however, says they have resolved to announce the successor on the 16th to allow the family to mourn. Our reporter Sbongakonke Mbatha has been tracking this story for us, and she joins us now live from Durban. Now, a very good afternoon to you again, Sbongakonke. What has happened so far?
A very good afternoon, Simpiwe. I can fairly say it is not as somber as it was when the day started. As you had mentioned earlier on, there was much anticipation with regards to the much-awaited announcement, not just from us, the media, but from the congregants as well. There was that mood of anticipation, of expectancy, and towards the end of the program, that's when Nkululeko Mthethwa, the spokesperson of Thembezinhle, made the announcement as per message from the late Vela Shembe's lawyers, saying that he would like to be given time for the family and the congregants to mourn his passing properly instead of having to rejoice during his final hours of ceremony who is his successor. And that is what has happened, as he had announced that on the 16th, that is the day where we will know who his successor is and who will eventually become the new leader of the Thembezinhle faction. And of course, earlier on, I had made attempts to speak to the lawyer who was part of the entire process since 2011. He was the lawyer of the late leader before Vela Shembe, Utingo, popularly known as Thembezinhle Shembe, where he had announced and he had attributed what the late leader had wanted as his successor, who eventually became Vela Shembe. And we know the matter had been in course for the past 5 years. The entire fracas caused a lot of bitterness, caused a lot of feud and division amongst congregants. So this particular announcement is one that is much anticipated, even though we understand that it's a time of mourning for the family and for the congregants, but it's an important announcement because the congregants want to know who will lead them moving forward, despite the fact that they're still mourning their past leader, who they have commended for his sense of Ubuntu, his unity amongst the church, his unity, promoting unity in the neighborhood he lived in. It was mentioned earlier on that he had set out 10 years for himself to build 2 schools. We do know that he had an educational background, so he has been described as someone who greatly motivated the community, who had great prospects in terms of developing all the people around him. So gladly know, wanting to know who's going to succeed him is much anticipated, to see who's going to take over from a man who has done so much in such a little time, because we will recall that he only came into power last year when the court ruled to his favor as the rightful leader of the church, even though it's still a matter that is still in court, as the Thembezinhle faction led by Nkululeko Shembe, his nephew, is contesting, or rather appealing, the court decision, contesting whether he's the rightful leader of the entire congregation or not. There's a lot at stake beyond church funds. There's a lot of status and standards at stake, but also it's for the control of one of the most powerful churches in the country, with close to 5 million worshippers in the church. Simpiwe.
All right, Sbongakonke Mbatha, thank you so much for joining us and for your comprehensive update. That is Sbongakonke Mbatha speaking to us live from KZN, wherein the funeral of the late Shembe leader is currently underway. Let's move on to